Hi, my name is Shayna Coggins, and this is my story. As a child, I was in and out of the hospitals because I had kidney reflux surgery, and so that was really tough on me when I was younger. When I was a teenager, I had my first real trauma, I would say. My parents, they got a divorce, which was something that I never expected. They never fought, it's kind of like a very normal household. One of my parents kind of confided in me and ended up turning me against my other parent, which I didn't speak to for about 2 years, and it was very, very toxic. I mean, I know my parent didn't mean to put me in that kind of situation, but it kind of happened. I ended up forgiving that particular parent, and then I ended up resenting my other parent for 2 years due to other reasons, which was also very, very toxic situation. So I kind of jumped back and forth between being meddled in family affairs for years. I felt like I kind of got just pushed in the middle of it. I was like 13, 14 at the time. That was a lot of emotional stress and trauma that I kind of went through. I ended up forgiving that parent as well, which was really difficult to do because I didn't really want to, but I kind of realized that hanging on to, I don't want to say hate, but hanging on to emotional traumas wasn't good for me. I kind of took that step to forgive him, even if it kind of like would hurt me in the process. A lot of back and forth family problems that I don't think they really realized that they were putting me through. It just kind of happened that way. When I was 15, I ended up dating this guy in high school, and he was kind of like my first love, if you would call it that. And I dated him for about a year and a half. That was another really traumatic experience that I ended up going through. He ended up being very abusive. He was emotionally abusive, physically abusive, pretty much any kind of form of abuse you can think of, I went through. He kind of took away my entire being. Like he made it to where I didn't even feel like I was myself. It took me about 6 years to fully find myself again after being in a relationship with him. He would get super jealous if I were to hang out with my friends. Like, I couldn't have any guy friends. He even would like get jealous of like me hanging out with my family. I remember there was like one time that I was supposed to go hang out with my family, and because I didn't do exactly what he wanted me to do, which he wanted me to wait for him to get off work and then he was gonna take me and drop me off, or that ended up being one of the scariest like moments, because like my sister walked into the room and he was like basically beating me up, and he like had me in kind of like not a chokehold, but he had me to where I couldn't get away from him, and he was like literally squeezing the life out of me. I was like about ready to pass out, and my sister, she comes in and starts beating him up, trying to like get him to let me go. And he grabbed my sister and he threw her into the wall, and there was like a big hole from where her head hit, and like her body just like slumped to the ground, and she was like unconscious. And that was so scary for me, just knowing that that was literally the person I was dating, and he was capable of squeezing me until I like literally almost passed out because I was supposed to go hang out with my family. And then he turns around and throws my sister so hard into the wall that she got knocked out. And I remember like looking at my hands and seeing like blood on my hands and not knowing where it came from. It's a moment that I will never forget. That's just one of multiple things that he put me through. I know there was like a time where he wanted me to get off my phone, and he was driving me out to kind of the middle of nowhere, and he took my phone away from me. He kicked me out of the car and was gonna leave me in the middle of nowhere. And I remember I'd never been so conflicted, because here was this person who I was like crying and bawling my eyes out, telling him to take me home, and he wasn't gonna take me home. He kept on driving farther and farther away from my house. It's just those little moments, there's so many of them, and I wish I would have snapped out of it or realized that this is toxic, this is not good for me. That went on for a year and a half. And then the straw that kind of finally broke the camel's back is when he threw my sister into the wall. That was it for me. That was what like woke me up. I know it's kind of weird to say, but I'm kind of like really grateful that all of those things happened to me, because I wouldn't have realized that I didn't want someone to control me, to micromanage every little thing that I did, from my color of my hair to the clothes that I wear to the people I hang out with to literally anything. Going through something like that made me realize I wanted like the opposite of that, and I didn't want someone to tell me what to do, and I didn't want someone who was not going to be okay with me going out and hanging out with my friends, regardless if they're guys or not. Even though it was like a really traumatic experience, it was one that I needed to have. More on the recent side, I found out a couple years ago that I have scoliosis, which is now makes so much sense to me, like why I sucked at sports, or like, you know, there's all these like little things that I just like never realized. It's not difficult, but like the older I get, the more like I realize that my body is just not how it used to be, especially since I love to be outside and I love to do all these outdoorsy stuff and hike. So after all of this tragic stuff that happened in my life, it kind of left me in like this big like depression state, and it was just like I felt that way for years. I mean, it probably was like 10 years of me just being sad, like sad all the time. I don't think anybody ever really noticed that I was sad, but I just constantly was in a sad state. One day, I don't know what it was that changed it, but I decided that I didn't want to be like that anymore. And so I wanted to like find what made me happy, regardless of what it was, you know? And so I started with trying to change my mindset, because I figured if I can change my mindset, then I can do anything. So I literally stopped trying to think anything negative. If I was, you know, going on a negative thought or rampage, I would stop. And I'd be like, nope, what you're doing is great, you're fine, you're doing just fine. Everything will be fine. Tomorrow's a new day, you know, it's always time for second chances. I think that it's really important how you talk to yourself and how you view yourself, because everything is kind of like an outside projection. Like how you see yourself is essentially how the world sees you in a way. I wanted to forgive everybody who had wronged me in any way, whether that was ex-boyfriends or family members or you name it. I kind of made my peace with everybody. Even if they didn't deserve it, I still made my peace, because hanging on to those kind of negative emotions, it wasn't doing me any good. Just kind of took small steps, and it's just like eventually the small steps got bigger and bigger and bigger. It kind of ended up making a beautiful little life. It took me a while, but I'm still not there completely, but I'm pretty happy with how things are now. I don't know, I feel like everything kind of happens for a reason. You can look at all these negative things and be like, why did this happen to me? Why does these things happen to me? But instead, I kind of look at them as lessons. Going, okay, I experienced that. I don't like that. I won't accept that. All of those things are literally a blessing, because those are lessons that I had to learn the hard way, but they're lessons. So what you do with them is essentially up to you. Whether you choose to dwell on something negative and be sad and depressed, or if you choose to be optimistic and say, hey, life happens, but I'm gonna choose to be this way regardless.